just like an introduction of both of y'all, and like with sort of, I guess, like what institution you're at, what sort of research do you do, and also more importantly, how did you get there, right? Like what is your individual journeys on how you got to where you're at?
So, we are both at Radford University.
Oh, I am Andrea Beverly. I'm an undergraduate researcher and a student here. Dr. Lau, I had in the past for a class, and I enjoyed it so much I wanted to continue working on it. Dr. Lau and go into body technology.
And sort of give us a synopsis of your research program.
My research program is about stream health words, right? And we're looking at the effects of the natural gas pipeline construction process through small headwater streams, and I mean 1 meter plus or minus, half a meter in width. Also looking at construction process for larger streams, so 3 to 5 meters. Looking at how boring through or trenching through these headwater streams are going to affect the physical habitat, the water chemistry, and
Yeah, having in some of my previous research, I've also looked at stream ecosystems. They're a pretty good metric for like understanding like how not even just the stream, but like the entire ecosystem. So
it's a natural filtration system, and I think that a lot of people don't understand that these small headwater streams are actually the groundwater in them flow into these streams flow into the larger streams. 75% of watersheds are these small water streams, and they're not regulated. So we do what we want for them, right? So because they're not navigable waters, destroying a lot of these small headwater streams really does have downstream.
And it may not reflect by destroying one stream, but
when you're doing them all.
Yeah, it destroys an entire. And you guys are working at West Virginia or Virginia, like sort of around
Southwest Virginia.
Cool. So like smack up in the middle of Appalachia.
Right. So near Roanoke County, or Roanoke.
And I assume that must be pretty grueling field work. Is it your first time doing it?
Well, see, I came in at kind of like after we've done a lot of the field work, and I've been more of the identification of different families. That's really been my focus. I haven't been out there yet, but hopefully in the spring.
Yeah.
I sort of dropped Andrea. I'm like, please join. You will have fun. Because Andrea really likes taxonomy. I said, you will not have the background because you're going on the field with us in March, but you can learn.
And I mean, now you have, I'm glad someone likes the taxonomy, because it hurts to be a bit too much, but that's because my brain's a little small. But yeah, no, that's so cool. And how have you enjoyed that? I guess, is it your first research project?
My first major one, yes, like this with a big scale. It's not my first time presenting, but something to this magnitude, definitely. I didn't know what to expect, really.
And how have you liked it so far?
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, I enjoyed the whole process of looking at everything, figure out, why this happened, what's the causation, how we can take it further, and what's the next steps to keep this going.
Yeah, and I guess for some context in the audience, what is the sort of construction that would go on for this pipeline? You mentioned boring, but how intensive is it on the geology? What are they actually doing?
Yeah, so the first step is to clear cut the pipeline. So clear cutting in terms of the stream is that you're removing the canopy cover. So removing that stability and the buffering of the microphone. So they clear cut, it's a 125-foot cactus. And then they will maintain basically a grass and shrub root pattern for 9 years. So I can't do the foot to meter stream conversion, but 1 meter versus 125 feet is going to really destroy this. And so they clear cut the pathway, and they remove all of the topsoil, and oftentimes that goes off into the watershed. The topsoil then, with the rainy bed, is going to flow into it. I'll get to that in a minute. But then they bore, they dig a trench to lay the pathway underground. And through the section of that we're studying, there's a lot of topography, there's a lot of cave systems. So it's not going to be sitting all of the time. So there'll be some areas where it's sitting in the ground. So they dig a trench, 9 to 12 feet. Then they lay the pipe. So there's a lot of blast zones because they are being bedrock. There's also, they have to drain the aquifers because it's a steel pipe, so they can't let the steel pipe sit there. So they drain the aquifers, and then all of that water goes into the watershed area, right? So that contributes to sedimentation. Also, a lot of these headwater streams are fueled or fed by this groundwater. So we drain them, therefore the streams don't have that source of groundwater.
The few streams that you get water get really intensified water flows that kind of destroy what ecosystems are there.
Right. So we go from like cobbles, boulders, sand, gravel to silt.
In a lot of my work in urban streams, the biggest characteristic of urban streams is that they're very intensified in flow, and they often come from sedimentation, eutrophication, and it reflects the basic needs in our and oftentimes that's why it's helpful to study them, because again, it helps you to know how useful this water is for not only to humans, but like as an ecosystem, right? How well is it able to support biota?
And so the community organizers, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have this long-term case. But yeah, because of the property owners and the landowners in the community, we were able to get all of this great data. Without them, we wouldn't.
Yeah, and
but they're important.
No, they're crucial. It's always like the non-scientists who you put in the. I wish I could put them as co-authors, because a lot of the people who, like, when I did stream ecology, like, there's people who are not bona fide scientists, but they are, like you said, they have. It's not science, it's knowledge.
Oh
it's
yeah,
still like an amount of experiential knowledge that they have that makes me feel like an idiot. Like all this science and statistics, it's nothing compared to that sort of thing. And being able to like kind of go hand in hand with those, like helping non-scientists bridge their gap with scientific information, because I think the leverage we have as scientists is that our information is trusted, or information it has a sort of rubber stamp of this is valid knowledge, which comes from a legacy of Western ideology, right?
I was able to, I'm not political, I'm not in there for, that's not the kind of scientist that I am, right? But I was able to write a comment that the Army Corps of Engineers released their report with a public comment. And so I worked with the property owner and the lawyers who are helping the property owner and community write comments. So I was able to use the data that we've collected to make a comment based on science, that contradicted what the MVP people were trying to say. They were trying to say there was no riffles and pools in this area, and I'm like, well, since I've been looking at it since 2018, I can assure you there is actually a riffle and a pool right here.
Riffle buddy and riffle site. I'm some riffle too. Like, there's a riffle there for sure.
Right, and so scientists have a really, in these kinds of studies, have a great opportunity for community members with the science. Right? I'm not saying the community members don't do science, because some of them are and I hear what you say with the landowners, because the two landowners that I'm working with, they go out to their stream and they walk on their property every single day for the last 20 years. You know, I have one year, they have 20 years.
All that like passion and love, but like just that non-scientific thing.
Still knowledge, you're
it's
right.
Almost spiritual. Like it's like
right.
there's something sacred about these places. Like the little modicum you've gotten, they have for this. It's the sort of thing that, like, yeah, as a naturalist myself, like it's worthless. Like you can't even describe it. I'm so excited for you to see it.
Yeah, I can't imagine being in the landowner's position. You know, you lived on this land, you know, for decades, and then you all of a sudden have, you know, big business coming in and trying to plow through your property. And it's like, I know this, and I love it, and you're trying to like make it something that it's not. And you're just trying to find research how to stop it. I'm glad that, you know, advanced in urban ecology, and like Dr. Lau and I, and everyone else is working on this project to finally try to do something to show that this is not a, you know, a good thing.
Right, so I was just talking to Andrea a little bit about this. I really like what you were saying about the ivory tower. Hard to balance who I am as a researcher with the demands that the ivory tower places on me, with the opportunity to help these landowners, right? It's hard to balance, especially as people of color, right? We are asked, or queer, or non-binary, or trans, we're asked in higher education to do the diversity work, right? And so that pulls away from right? But it also, like, it makes it easy to forget, wait, I'm doing this for the land, right? And so balancing all of that has been
hard. Yeah, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
No, and it's hard to work within it as underrepresented minorities, because, like, how do I climb this tower without giving myself to it? Right? How do I make an impact? How do I make sure my research counts for more than just?
Especially if it's against the norm, right? Because, you know, we'll have different perspectives.
Exactly.
But it's interesting because we are in this ivory tower, right? And the ivory tower asks us to we have to teach, which is what I love to do. We have all of the service commitments, right? And sometimes this is where it's
that there's actual impacts to, you know, sure, the stream ecosystem and all the fish qualities that I love so much,
right.
But also to the wider world, right? Like you mentioned early on about the importance of stream ecosystems as like an indicator, right? Because these sorts of things are going into people's drinking water, they're going into, like, you know, drink the entire watershed for like croplands, right? And being in West Virginia or in the sort of Appalachia area, right? You know, that's one of the poorest areas of the country. It's one of the areas most struck by like poverty and like coal companies leaving all these like Superfund sites and like pollution everywhere. Like it is a place where the ecology is rife with the human impact, right? You don't think it's not urban, but it has the same hallmarks of urban ecology. That's like you see the footprint of humankind.
Like the industrialization.
Right? And it's not the pretty side either. It's not the big city, like all the pretty lights. Well, how that city got so pretty, it's by exploiting this land and its people, right? And even there's beauty, right? Like, I mean, so jealous. I've never gone hiking in the Appalachians. I've heard it's wonderful, and 300 years of just stream ecosystems.